So that's our theme for today, practicing non-knowing, intimacy with others. Jean-Paul Sartre, the existentialist philosopher, famously said, hell is other people, right? Yeah. And I think we all know what he was getting at with that. You know, other people are always doing what they want to do and not what you want them to do. Not only that, but if you open yourself up in vulnerability to other people, they are likely to hurt you, you know, sometimes unintentionally, sometimes intentionally. When we hide ourselves away from contact, you know, we can protect ourselves, protect our emotions. So when we engage with other people, it can very oftentimes be challenging, confusing, and even painful. Okay. So this is quite a matter here to practice. Really practice being wise and open and loving with other people. Relationships, as we know it, are very difficult. You know, intimate relationships are very difficult, especially, you know, across gender differences. When we look at intimacy across gender differences. Miyoku, when I was sharing with her our theme for tonight, she said, yeah, relationships are the hardest thing. The hardest thing. And she's seen some hard things and she practices some hard things. So just right off, this is the hardest thing, relationship. I agree. I agree with her. But the fruits of conscious relationship are the best thing. Yeah, they're the best thing. So I say a few things about appreciating this practice of non-knowing with respect to others. Okay. So I have two one is a koan and one is a Taoist story. So two accounts to kind of share in my talk, and this should be fun. I wanted this talk to be fun, and these should be fun. So relax. The first one comes from the way of Zhuangzi or Zhuangzi, who was a Taoist teacher, philosopher. I don't know what they call themselves, actually. I think I like person of the Tao maybe is the best. I don't like philosopher. But this translation actually comes from Thomas Merton, did a book on it, who many of you know. Back from 1965, he did a translation of this. So it goes like this. Some of you might have heard this before. Zhuangzi and Huizi, who are both Taoist adepts, were crossing the bridge over the Hao River. They were rambling at ease. Zhuangzi said, see how free the fish are, rambling at ease and carefree? This is their happiness. Huizi replied, you're not a fish. How do you know what makes fish happy? Zhuangzi said, you're not me. How can you know that I don't know what makes fish happy? Huizi responded back, I'm not you, you're right, and I don't know what you know. And you're not a fish, and you can't know what they know. It proves that you don't know that the fish are happy. Well, Zhuangzi responds, wait a minute, let's go back to the original question. What you asked me was, how do you know what makes fish happy? From the terms of your question, you evidently realize that I do know what makes fish happy. And you just asked me how I knew that. And then Zhuangzi concluded, I know the joy of fishes in the river through my own joy as I go walking along the same river. All right. So something rich here about the intimacy of practicing non-knowing. How do we know another? How do we know another? Huang Huizi, turns this into an analytical question. Well, you're not them, so you can't know. Something like this. But Zhuangzi comes from a different mind entirely. In fact, a whole different understanding of what it means to know. And he brings forth the knowledge that comes from an empathetic relationship with another being, a direct, intimate relationship. I read a few commentaries on this tale in preparation for this talk, and one of the commenters was a philosophy teacher who clearly took his explication from the original Chinese, and he said there's a part of this story that a lot of commentators don't catch, which is that the words used to describe Zhuangzi and Huizi, the two men, at the beginning, they're rambling at ease as they go over the bridge, is the same word, yo, that's used to describe the activity of the fish in the water. Yo apparently is the Chinese word, right? So right there, the tale is sort of manifesting the identity of being that Zhuangzi is talking about, the source of his intimate relationship with the fish. So we connect with other beings. How? How do we connect with other beings? Only through our own joy, our own pain, our own sorrow, our own happiness, our own ease, our own difficulties. We connect with others' truth through our truth. And that's the only way we can do it. That's the path, always. Right? I've often said that we can only understand someone else to the extent that we understand ourselves. If you have a very limited understanding of yourself, then you have a very limited understanding of other people, in the specific and in the general. So when I see someone and they are authentically see other people as the Buddha, as bodhisattvas, they're not just saying it, oh, everybody's the Buddha, but they really believe it, and you can tell. Then I know that they know that they are a Buddha themselves. And when you know that you're a Buddha yourself, then you instantly, maybe not always instantly, maybe it takes something sometimes, but intrinsically, not instantly, but intrinsically, you know that others are Buddhas too. Yeah. And then you encounter people who they clearly just see the whole rest of the world as, perhaps aggressors or people out to take advantage of them. Well, that's how they see themselves. That's all they have. That's what their view of the human being is limited to, right? And when your view of yourself and your understanding of yourself is that deep and that wide, and your view of others is that deep and that wide, and includes, the vast expanse of human feelings and potential, then it becomes relatively simple to understand other people. They're kind of like an open book when you have a deep understanding of yourself, when you're deeply intimate with yourself. and look outward, without defense or without analysis. When you can really listen deeply to another person, that's a key part of it too, is you've listened deeply to yourself. Now you have to listen deeply to the other person. And people reveal themselves all the time. They're always revealing themselves. So your knowing becomes very simple and very direct. You don't have to figure things out so much, right? But you've got to listen not just to the surface words, the surface communications that are coming through from other people, but you have to listen to what might be going on down below, potentially even deeper than they're aware of themselves. Okay. Our social interactions operate at a very surface level for the most part. Okay. There's a lot of social codes that govern our interactions. And on top of this, we all wear masks in most settings. So we're all wearing masks and we're all following social codes. And these things tend to, obstruct or get in the way or sometimes distract from real authenticity and intimacy. But we need these, as part of our social functioning, right? But what we can do inside is that we can practice bringing a certain quality of attention to the surface codes, filters, and masks, while we also simultaneously give a deep attention to what's going on below the surface of other people. The one is a kind of a functional attention, okay? And the other one is a more intimate attention. It comes from your own samadhi, from your own restfulness and abiding within your own centeredness, your own equanimity. And this will allow you to resonate with others intimately. So we've talked many times about what is the quality of attention that comes from samadhi, the power of concentration, heart-mind concentration. Okay? It's curious, it's open, it's also relaxed and non-aggressive. Okay, there's curiosity, which is kind of interrogatory. It can be like an interrogation. Give me the facts. Maybe there's even an agenda in the questions, right? Or there might be an analytical kind of mind at play in the questions. What's going on there? What's up there? Maybe some kind of interpretive mind is working, and kind of looking for something to, validate a theory, maybe, or to put the person in a box, or to, understand them in a certain way according to a certain model, something like that. So I think you know what I'm talking about, right? There can be this quality of questioning which can have a certain kind of aggression to it. But that's not the quality of attention, quality of curiosity that really leads to intimacy. That's not the real non-knowing practice that we want to practice here, right? This is a curiosity that allows for surprise, that's playful, that is humorous, and allows for humor, and also allows for bewilderment. At the beginning of Anga, I talked about that quality of bewilderment. As we walk out into the world and meet people, allow ourselves to be bewildered. So there's an innocent quality in our interactions with others. So we practice with this in this way, and then our interactions and our relations become easeful. Okay, it's actually what this Taoist story, you can say, is about. It's about how to be easeful in the world with other beings, how to really connect with them intimately in a way that is supportive. And it's really wonderful how this tale kind of manifests that, because Zhuangzi and Huizi were very close friends, and they're both adepts. So they're actually manifesting the quality of easeful relationship that they're talking about, really knowing each other from the heart and connecting. And they're just sort of batting these things back and forth in a very playful way. So the koan I want to share has similar qualities, but being a Zen koan is much more simple and direct. This appears in two koan collections, pretty much in the same way, same form. It's Blue Cliff Record, case 24, and the Book of Equanimity, case 60. Ryu Tetsuma, the old cow. It's very short. Ryu Tetsuma came to Isan. Isan said, "Old cow, so you have come." Ryu Tetsuma said, "Tomorrow there's a great festival at Taishan. Will you be going?" Isan lay down and stretched himself out. Ryu Tetsuma went away. So this is just a very simple but profound interaction between these two adepts. Ryu Tetsuma was a woman. She's reputedly 40 or 50 years old at this time. Isan was her teacher, so probably 15 or 20 years older at this time. But Ryu Tetsuma was very highly evolved and was basically a master in her own right. So this is the coming together of two masters in a very playful way. So let's look at it in a little bit more detail. Ryu Tetsuma comes to Isan. Ryu Tetsuma was an old woman who was known for the ferocity and the strength of her Dharma understanding. And she was called Iron Grinder Ryu because she would just grind up young monks who would challenge her in the Dharma. Or more often, she would challenge them in the Dharma and they just wouldn't have a clue. And she'd kind of grind them up and spit them out. Very strong, a strong woman. Very authentic. And she lived right outside or nearby Isan's monastery, and Isan was the abbot, and the teacher. And Isan says, "Old cow, so you have come." Now this is a term of great respect, old cow. We've talked about how the water buffalo is in the ox herding pictures is a symbol of one's true self, one's Buddha nature. Yeah. So that's what he's calling her. He's saying, Buddha, you've come. And she says, "Are you going to this festival on Mount Taishan, tomorrow?" Well, Mount Tai is about 800 miles from Isan's monastery. We know where Isan's monastery was, and we know where Taishan is too. Taishan, by the way, as an aside, is a beautiful, amazing mountain, one of the 5 holy mountains of China. And I lived for a year and I taught English for a year, as some of you know, in China back in my mid-20s. And I lived in Tianjin, which is very close to Taishan. And I was able to visit Taishan and climb to the summit. And I even spent a night on top of Taishan and got up to see the sunrise from what was probably the remains of the monastery at Taishan. This is going back about 30 years ago. So there's a great festival on this mountain, but it's 800 miles away. And she comes in and says, "Are you going tomorrow?" The equivalent would be going to your teacher and saying, "Hey, there's a party on the other side of the world in Australia tomorrow. You gonna go?" It's in 10 hours. So she's just playing. She's just tossing a ball to him and saying, "Hey, what are you going to do with this? What's up with you?" And Isan, how does he meet this? He just lays down and stretches himself out. And then she turns and goes away. So her initial question is very mischievous. Um, maybe it's like walking into a room with someone and just throwing a ball to them and say catch, see what they're going to do. Kind of getting outside of any sort of getting out of their heads, seeing what's up, what kind of energy they're going to manifest. Okay? And Isan just meets this completely openly. He doesn't say, "What are you talking about?" He doesn't say, "Oh, hi, Ryu. You want to come and do this?" He doesn't sort of pretend she didn't say this crazy thing. He actually answers her, but in a very, very alive way, a very direct way. He just lies down. Uh, I don't need that. No, this is great right here. Look at me lying down. How vulnerable, actually. Here's the abbot of the monastery. Imagine if like somebody walked into my Zumi Roshi and said, "Oh, my Zumi, are you going to that party in New York tomorrow?" And he just lie down on the front lawn. That would be so wild. That's what he does. That's what Isan does. A great vulnerability in both of their showings up to the other. And not only that, but a great peace, great ease. Yeah. There's nothing pushy. There's nothing teachy. There's nothing preachy. There's no agenda. My teacher Shishin commented on this koan, and he made a real interesting discernment, which I think is helpful. He says, we can withdraw from things we don't understand or maybe threats. So you could look at, Isan's just lying down and not verbally addressing her question as withdrawal. But I don't think so, very much not. Because when we do withdraw, that can be avoidant, right? And there is that. But that's not what Isan is doing. He's really meeting her with a very active expression of his own state. This is where I'm at. Very responsive to what she's presenting to him. So I don't want you to take the wrong lesson from this, that lying down. You get faced with a challenging, exploration, invitation, right? And you get thrown off. So you just like go silent, look away. Now that's not this at all. That's coming out of a defensive place. Yeah. Now this is to really, really meet them in vulnerability and openness. So there's a teacher called Wan Song who commented on this. And I liked this expression. I think it was he, says, in the meeting of Isan and Ryutetsuma, they didn't establish character or repute. They didn't strive in danger and prejudice. They were relaxed and easygoing, seasoned and mature. Yeah, how about meeting others in this way? Relaxed and easygoing, seasoned and mature. And then finally, Ryutetsuma leaves in response to Isan lying down. She turns and goes away. What a wonderful, delicate, I find it delicate. I don't know if that's the right word, but there's something just, intimate perhaps is the better word about that. He lies down. He says, "I'm okay here." And she's like, "Okay." I'm going to go now. Just fully alive. Shishin comments, she's like a bright jewel on the stand. When a foreigner appears, a foreigner is reflected. When a native appears, a native is reflected. Whatever appears, that's what's reflected. Isan lies down. She turns and goes away. Zhuangzi and Huizi ramble at ease over the bridge. And they see fish rambling at ease in the water below them. And they ramble at ease, reflecting others from the purity, authenticity, and intimacy of one's own self. So this is the fruit of intimacy with others in relationship. Easefulness, safety, happiness, okay? Lightness in the world, humor. And practice being this way with ourselves and with others, bringing these qualities alive. An easeful curiosity, a playful interaction from one's own experience of intimacy with oneself. Okay, so those are some words in appreciation of this practice. There's many flavors that we can practice, non-knowing of others. So we can discuss more after we sit. Thank you.